Okay, this is our fourth and final series, buying and selling stocks in a real-time market. Now, the first screen you're going to see is the market today. Today is March 3rd, 2025. I try to keep my stuff up to date, but I think I'm going to finally just let it go today instead of trying to keep up with the day. But today was a good day to show you exactly what I meant when I say the bear market. We say the bear market now when you have the S&P drop like maybe 50 points, that's average, right? And when you have the Dow, maybe 100 and some points, that's average. When you have the Nasdaq 100 and some points, that's average. But when you start seeing the S&P dropping in 100, 100 and some points, when you hear the Dow is dropping 3, 4, 500 points, when you hear the Nasdaq is dropping 3, 4, 500 points, you got to look at the market and say, what is going on here, right? And although it may not be good for some, it is good for others to buy at the dip. This is what they mean buying at the dip. This is a bear market, which means if there were things you were thinking about getting, but you didn't really want to pull the trigger yet, it was kind of pricey. When you're in a bear market, you can pretty much go and snap up anything you want to get, right? We have a big dip today. So let's get started. Let's go ahead and buy our first stock. Okay, the first thing we want to do to buy and sell stocks is look at your platform. There are different brokerages that you can use. I'm not sure which one you're using, but the terminology, the indicators, and everything, they still mean the same. So I'm going to tell you what I will put in those blocks in order to make your first trade. Now, what you have to do is figure out on your platform, where do you find that? So for example, I'm using E-Trade. So I want to go ahead and place a stock trade. So I see that on my tab, I see that you have like accounts, pay, and transfer and all of that. So what I want to do is go to my tradings tab. So you look for something that's close to your tradings tab. Now, when you go to your tradings tab, you're going to have a drop down box. And normally, because you can trade different ways, and I'm not sure which platform you use because some people can trade futures and options right now, depending on which brokerage services that you're using. So for me, it would say like, a stock ETF or options or futures or whatever. So we're going to pick stock. We're going to pick stock ETF. And that will be what type of trade we're making for now. So the first thing I want to do is we're gonna play with Sirius Radio for a little bit, right? Because I want to buy and sell some stocks, but I also want to make sure I buy and sell some cheap ones, right? So I'm gonna go with Sirius Radio. So as I said before, if you know the name of the company you want to purchase, just type it in and it'll give you a drop down and you can find the one that you're looking for. So in this case, I already know what Sirius symbol is, SIRI. So we're gonna go with that. Now my action. You see your action, you have buy, sell, buy the cover. We're going to keep it basic right now. We're just going to go with buy and sell. So for Sirius, we're going to buy this stock. And it has a limit price of $24.17. Now, when we get to that section, I'll show you what that means because you can change that. Okay. So we have buy. We're going to select buy. Now the quantity, especially if you're buying like stocks that are maybe like 80 cents a share or $1.20 a share or whatever, you may want, if it's $1.20, you may not say I want to buy one. You may want to buy 100. You may want to buy 50. You may want to buy 10. So you can put your quantity in here, how many you choose to purchase. Okay, so we're going to go with one for right now for training purposes. Now, the price type. We went over this in stock market terminology. And you have your market price and your limit. And remember, I was telling you have stop loss and stop on quote and all those things there. We're keeping it basic right now. We want to get you into the market right now. So we're going to either do a market. I'm going to do a market and a limit. So the first thing I want to do is show you how to do a market buy. And a market buy means what? You want to purchase that stock at its current price. You want to go ahead and buy. You don't want to go ahead and do a limit and have to wait and see if the price is accepted. So we're just going to go ahead and do a market. It's $24.17. Now with a market, you're buying it at this current price, the current rate. So there won't be a thing where you can say, I want to buy it good for the day or good for the next 30 days or good for the next 60 days. You want to say good for today because you're doing market. You're looking at the price that it is right now. You're ready to make your buy right now. So we're going to say good for the day. Now, as you can see, the order is in, and I haven't placed it yet, but it's in. So now this is your time to go over everything and make sure you put the right symbols in, the right price, everything. This is your chance to review everything before you place your order. So as you can see, we did buy one. We want to buy one share of Sirius Radio at the market price, and it's $24.10. right? So now we're going to go ahead and place our order. My order has been placed. So now I have 1 share of Sirius Radio. So my order has been placed. And as you can see, if you're not sure whether or not, we're going to go over this again, but if you're not sure whether or not your order has been placed, you should have a tab that tells you where your orders are. And your orders are anything that you did that may be, for example, if you did a limit, you may have it under the orders tab because it may say it's still sitting there or still processing, or it was executed, or it was canceled, and we'll go over that. But right now, it shows that we do have 1 share of Sirius Radio. Now, I'm going to go to my portfolio because I want to see if I'm making any money, right? Because I already bought the share. Now it's already in my portfolio. So wherever your portfolio is on your platform, you go there and you check to make sure that your stock is there. And so as you can see, it says that I do have Sirius Radio, the symbol, right? It shows me the last price. The price I paid was $24.10. Now it's saying the current price right now is $24.13. So, I made 3 cents. I made 3 cents just sitting here right now, placing my trade. Before I can even come back to my portfolio, I made 3 cents, right? So, okay, pretty good. It's green. The numbers are all in green. That's good. When I look at it, when I see green, I feel pretty good. When you see red, that means you're coming negative. So, right? So we have a green. Orders placed. Now what's in my portfolio? It's going to sit there until I say I want to sell it, or until I say I want to add some more to it. But it's there, right? And it'll be, that's your portfolio. It will be there until you sell it, whether it be tomorrow, whether it be next year, whether it be 10, 20, 30 years. It's there in your portfolio. And another thing too is when you see it, it's 3 cents, and then you see I lost 10 cents. We went over that before. Don't sit there and get nervous. This is long term. So even if you just made 3 cents, or if it went down and you lost 15 cents, that's okay. That's just for that current time. You still have tomorrow. You still have months from now. You still have years from now. Think long term, right? Now we want to show you how to sell it. And we're going to sell it at a market rate. So here we go. All we do is go back by Sirius Radio. Now for me, there's a trade button right next to the symbol. So wherever your orders are, you find where your orders are, you can go there. The main thing you want to do is you want to say that you want to sell it, right? So we want to sell it. So I'm going to go ahead and click sell. Now it's showing me sell is my Sirius Radio, right? I see the symbol is Sirius because the reason you want to make sure you're selling the right one. Say you have a portfolio, you have 10 different stocks, and you wanted to sell Sirius, and you also have like Netflix and Amazon and Google and all of them. And if you don't look at it, you may have chosen the wrong one. So just always check over your symbol and make sure it's a current symbol, which is Sirius. So we're on the right one. It's automatically going to fill in everything else for you, so you don't have to do anything. Like when you say the action is sell and all that, when you click sell, they already have it set up for you to sell, right? The only thing you have to do is look at these other 2 things. When it says sell, the one thing you want to look at when it says sell is a symbol, and you also want to look at the quantity, because you may have purchased 10 Sirius, right? And you only want to sell half your portfolio. You just want to sell, 5, or you might want to just sell 2, right? Or you want to sell all, right? This is where you would put the quantity in. Now we're selling at the market rate. So on the drop down, when it comes to price type, when a drop down menu comes, you want to make sure you hit market because we want to sell it for what it's going right now, right? And the only reason I'm doing it is for training. Other than that, I will hold on to it. I would have been holding on to this, but for training, we're going to sell it. So now I'm going to sell it, right? And they say my estimated proceeds are, is $24.10. I think that's what I bought it for, right? I'm not sure, but I think it's what I bought it for. So now I'm closing out making no money, but it's better than closing out taking a loss, right? So we're back to $24.10. I'm going to preview the order and we're going to place the order, right? I'm good. I'm selling 1 share of Sirius Radio and it tells me it's for $24.10 and it's good for today. So we're going to go ahead and place our order. Now to make sure that my order also placed, I'm going to go back to my orders, right? And it will show you my orders that I did have Sirius Radio. If you see the date, it says 2/28/25. And then it also tells me what the price I sold for, which is $24.10. But the main important thing you want to look at is the status. It says that it has been executed. Executed means that they went through with the trade. So now we want to go back to our tradings tab, and now we want to go ahead and buy again, but this time we're going to do a limit buy. And this time we'll do a different stock. Okay, this time we're going to do FICO, right? We're going to do FICO. We're going to go ahead and do a limit buy with FICO. We put the symbol in, FICO, and as you can see, we have a buy and then also the quantity. So now we're going to go ahead and put the quantity in. I'm going to buy 1 share of FICO. And right now we have a bid and ask. If you look right next to all the green numbers, you see FICO. Right below that, you see the last price is $18.74. Now, you see the bid and the ask. The bid is $18.73 and the ask is $18.77. So it's like only a $4 difference. You know, it's to me, that's not worth. If you're paying $18.74 for a stock, and then you know kind of like concerned about, well, you know, it's $2. I'm paying $2 more, $2 less, or whatever. Now, okay, we're just doing this for general purposes, right? So we're gonna go ahead and do a limit. Now, what I want to do with this limit is, I just want to show you that when I buy it, $18.77.75. That's what I'm gonna put my limit in for. I see it. And I have my order in, and so let me go ahead and place the order. What I'm trying to see is if they're going to accept my limit price. My order has been placed. Just because it's been placed doesn't mean that my order went through. Again, this is when you come back to your orders page to see what your status is. And as you can see, when I come back to mine, it shows me that my status is still open. It tells me the price. It tells me that it was a limit buy. It tells me it was good for today. Now, it shows open, which means that it has not been filled. Now, in this case, what happens is they give you the option to change it. So I can change it to a higher price if I really want to get in for that day, right? I can change it. I can go ahead and raise up or whatever they were asking for. So we see it's open. So you have options here. It's open. You still have an order in. It's only good for that day because we said good for that day. Now, if we had said good for 30 days or good for 60 days, that order would stay in effect until it reaches that price, and then it will automatically buy or sell it for you at that price. But since I had good for today, you know, and it's close to the end of the market, I'm going to just go ahead and keep it in. I was going to go ahead and cancel, but there's only like 1 minute before the market closes. So what's going to happen, since it was good for today, when 4 p.m. comes and the market closes, it's going to automatically cancel that order for me because they're going to like, look, nobody wanted to buy this. You said good for the day, so the day is over at 4 o'clock. So boom, we're just going to go ahead and cancel that order, right? If it wasn't executed by then. If it was still open and I had good for today, they're just going to go ahead and cancel it. So it's like I never purchased it. And be careful because that's when it's good for that day. At the end of the day, it's not going to still be open at the end of at 4 o'clock. It's not going to be open anymore. It's either going to be executed or it's going to be canceled based on they didn't find any buyers or anyone who wanted to sell it to you at that particular price. Now I want to show you a different stock. I'm going to keep this order in even though my order is still open. There's only like a minute or two before the market closes, so it's either going to execute it or it's going to cancel. More than likely, I've been doing this for a while, it's going to cancel it. So they're going to cancel it. So I'm not even going to worry about that right now. I want to show you how to sell another stock when you do a limit. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and sell a different stock. So let's go ahead and sell one called Axum. Now, Axum is a stock that's been going up a lot lately if you look at the price of this one, because I forget exactly all of the indicators behind it, but I know that they had, it's a company that deals with like the police and the cameras and their equipment and all that stuff there. So when we had someone come into the administration with all the deportations or whatever, people were buying into the stock. So, I mean, it went from like $400 until, what is it right now? It's $528, but it went up to $6 something, almost $7 something, right? Just because of the word on the street. And that's what happens too. When you start getting a buzz, people start getting a buzz, they just go by what they heard, what they think, and then they're going to go ahead and buy on that word or those actions or the news or whatever. So that was a case of like a buzz making the stock go up. But lately it's been kind of teetering back down. But it's still up, $100 something from where it was before the buzz went out. So we're going to go ahead and say that we have Axum. I don't have it, but let's go ahead and show you what you would do if I did have it. I would say, okay, I'm going to put the stock symbol in there, Axum. And the reason I couldn't just go by the symbol like we did before and just hit the sell button is because I don't have it, right? Just showing you how you would sell at a limit buy. So now we have Axum. We put that stock symbol in, and if we want to sell one quantity, But this time we want to do a limit. So when your drop down menu comes, you have the market and you have limit. So now we have one quantity, we have a limit. Now if we look at the bid and ask, it's between 510 and 540. So I want to sell, and the reason I was showing you this, even though we're not going to go through with this trade because I don't have it, is because the reason sometimes this is very important is because when you want to sell, especially like when I was, when I'm selling options and everything like that, when I have my bid and my ask, and so when I buy it, I try to buy it at the low end, and when I sell it, I try to sell at the high end, right? And that's still hard to come by. But for example, if I was selling accent in real life and it was between 510 and 540, if you do a market, more than likely they're gonna, give you the market rate of like 510 or lower, right? That's what the market rate is going to be. So I can go ahead and do a limit and say, no, I want to sell it, but I want to sell it, at like 520. I want to sell it at 520. I want them to just give me 510 for it. So I'll go ahead and do a limit sell, right? I already have the stock, right? And I already know what my profit's going to be. And I see that the bid and the ask, and I see the spread. I'm like thinking, I can make a little bit more money, a little bit more than the market rate. So I'm going to go ahead and say I want to do, I'm saying 540 on here, but I already know if I put 540, they're pretty much not going to buy it, right? So I'll do a limit, and right now I'm showing you I can do a limit for 540. You see how it says that, good for today. Since we're doing the limit, now we have the option instead of saying just good for today, because if it was a market, it's only good for that day because you bought it. You say, I want the market rate, which is the current price. So it's going to sell or buy for you, right? Now, if we said, hey, I want to sell Axum, but I don't want to sell it until it comes down to like, until I can sell it for 540. This is where you would put like your 540 in there, because you're not interested in selling it like right away. You'll put your 540 in there because that's what you want. That's what you're comfortable at. That's a profit margin you will feel good at. And then you go ahead and say good for 60 days or good until, whatever day, or good until you cancel within 60 days. Now, if we're on the 61st day and it still hasn't, hit that point, what they're going to do is they're going to cancel your order, right? So, because it didn't meet the criteria you were asking for. So in this case, we'll say, good for 60 days. And I'm hopeful that price will come. Now, sometimes it's not good to do that, like over that certain period of time, unless you know exactly why you're doing it and, what type of profit you're trying to make. Because let's say we say 540 today, and then, it was at 510, right? And we say 540, and then tomorrow the market opens. Guess what? The market can open now at like 590. So guess what they're going to do? They're going to go ahead and fill your crap for 540, right? And you're kicking yourself like, man, I could have waited, right? I should have waited, right? So that's what you have when you have your good for 60 days. It's good sometimes, and sometimes it can work against you. But like, just like it's at the end of the day, hey, I feel good with it being 540, but it doesn't like it's going to hit that today, selling it at that price. So you can go ahead and say, hey, I want to keep that order in for 60 days. Now you can come back the next day and say, hey, I want to change that. I want to cancel that. I want to change the price. It's up to you, right? As long as it's still in your orders and you can change it, you can do that, if it didn't execute already. The last part I wanted to show you was your orders. We already talked about your orders several times, but I just wanted to show you, like, when you go to your orders, it would tell you whether or not these are different statuses that your orders can be in. So when you look at your orders, you can have orders that are open. So if I want to look at all my open orders, I would click there. We have the orders that was executed. And as you can see, we did have Sirius. We did buy Sirius Radio, and then we did sell it. So we had 2 orders executed. And you can see both of them, one was for market rate and one was for limit, right? And I can look at my gains and losses for each one of those. You also have your cancel. Like I said, the one that I had for FICO, I already know it's going to be canceled, right? So then later on, I will come back and look and see what my status is, and more than likely it will be canceled. Now, your saved one, sometimes you can just save it. You may say, hey, I want to do 540. You're not ready to put it in right now. You got all your numbers and stuff in. You know what your profit's going to be, but you're just going to save it. Wait till later on. Those would be your saved one. Nothing's going to happen to you till you execute them. Now, expired. For me, that's what happened with the FICO, which is going to happen, which is probably already happened now. It's going to cancel. It's going to expire because I had in there good for that day. It didn't get filled because it didn't hit that number. So since it was that day at 4 o'clock, that's the end of the trading day for me. And so at 4 o'clock or whatever, it's going to go ahead and just cancel it for me. Or in other words, it was just say expire. Now, you have other ones you may put in and you'll come back and may be rejected. You may put in for this price or whatever, and they'll come back and say rejected. And those are how you can look and just hit all. You can see all your orders, right? But that's what your orders are for. And it's good to look at that because sometimes I've lost money, not with this, but with options, because I will put an order in and I'll forget it because I'm trading some other things. And oh shoot, I got the order in. Next thing you know, I see execute. I'm like, oh, I didn't want to sell it right now. It went the other way. I was making more money. Let it keep going, right? So, but always look at your orders. So you have reached the end of buying and selling stocks, right? And so hopefully you learned everything that you needed to in order to go in there and place your first successful trade. You should be able to go and find your tradings tab, find the stock that you want to purchase, place that symbol in, the quantity of how many stocks you want to buy for that particular symbol, right? Then you want to go ahead and know if you want to do a market or a limit. You want to look at your fill or kill. And also there was another box that says all or none. All or none is like if you had 10 shares of like Sirius and you only want, and you say, hey, I want to sell 10, you can go in there and say all or none. If they can't sell all of them at one time, you can say don't sell none. I want to sell all 10, right? And then you go in there, you look at your how much it's going to cost you. You preview your order, you place your order, you go back to your portfolio where you can see if your order has been placed. If it has been placed, right, executed, it will be in your portfolio. Then you can start watching your money, whether you're making money or losing money. Again, do not look at the market every minute, right? Check on it, look at it, don't get nervous. It is for long term. So that's it. Hope you enjoy this series. And I'm thinking about coming back every once in a while or whatever and give you like some tips on what I'm buying and what I'm selling. Different things I've learned, different things I've started that are new. So I will come back. I have to figure that out. But hope you enjoyed the course. And if you have any questions, you got my email me and we'll go ahead and talk about it. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. Watch your figures.